What's going on, people? Welcome back to Fast Breaks with Will. Um, as you know, this is the solo thing that I do, as opposed to Rob's solo thing, which has been really cool lately. That he's been doing a lot more of those, and he's inspired me to try to put out more of these, as opposed to waiting months and months between them. I wanted to take some time to talk about, a couple of things. They're all interrelated. Last week, I lost one of the most important people to me, in Ronnell Durante. As I hope that if you're listening to this, I hope that you've listened to that episode of The Hunger for Knowledge when Nell was on. But yeah, I lost him last week, and it's been a very interesting week. It has shifted so many things in my life, and it's put me in a place where it had been a while since we had talked when he passed. And now the interesting part is that I hear him all the time. It's very movie-esque, in the same way that, like when they show somebody, sitting there in the car with somebody, or walking with the person even though they've passed. It's very much similar to that. He's louder now to me than he's ever been. It reminds me of I remember on Star Wars when Obi-Wan Kenobi was fighting Darth Vader, and Obi-Wan told Darth Vader, he was like, look, if you strike me down, I'll become more powerful than I am right now. And he was certainly an Obi-Wan figure to me. He was my mentor. He was my friend. He was my brother. He was like an uncle to me. He was what he needed to be to so many people. And this week I've really just been trying to figure out how to honor his memory, how to be the man that he believed I could be, because he believed in me when virtually no one believed in me. He believed in me when I said I wanted to be a rapper, when everyone else laughed and said that it didn't even make sense for me to want to be a rapper. He believed in me when I said I wanted to be like a semi-pro basketball player. He took me to my first tryout, and he helped me to get my body and my game in a place where, I made that team. That was the first time I was ever paid to play basketball. It didn't last long. I never gave it exactly the attention that it needed. But without his influence, that experience would have never happened at all. And when I think about how many people he affected, I know that there's people who hurt, who are hurting for his loss. To me, I think it's extremely deep. It's deep because there are no other people who I've had better conversations with ever. You know, we would have these things that I would call bottomless conversations, where the depth of the conversation would just continue and continue and continue until we looked up and it was 4:30 or 5 in the morning. All the people who were talking to us hours ago either left or were asleep, but it was just us. And there was where I saw his brilliance. You know, I saw it when he would help people who people would wonder, why are you even helping this person? He was teaching. He was trying to teach people that nobody is helpless or nobody is unworthy of you taking a minute to try to brighten their life. That's something I'll never forget. I'll also never forget the fact that where he went to high school, where we went to high school, he graduated like 12 years before I did. He was the greatest basketball player in my school's history, and he'll never be regarded as that because he had run-ins with the law. He was disagreeable at times. He got into arguments, but he only got into arguments because he was willing to stand for the things that he actually stood for, as opposed to people who would just lay down and die and not be about what they were actually about. I found myself in that position far too much in my life, and to watch him stand was a lesson in manhood and standing in your truth and what's right, even when everybody thinks it's wrong. Even when he did wrong, he was trying to do right. I watched it. We went on adventures. We were just trying to live and to experience new things. And there was a whole period of my life before I had children where it was me and him, and we went to places that we never thought we would be at, and in crazy situations. But you can only do that if you believe in yourself. And he, I think, suspected in me that I wasn't believing in myself. And I remember one day we were driving, and he looked up, and he looked over at me. He said, I know that there's a superstar inside of you. He said, but you have to learn how to let it out. And now he's gone in the physical. Spiritually, he's more present inside of me now than he maybe was when he was alive, because I'm just crushed by his absence. I'm crushed by the fact that I'll never be able to have a physical conversation with him again. There were so many things that I feel like I still had to learn from him. And there were so many things that we planned on doing in the future. And now, the only person, well, not the only person, but the only people who can continue his memory and let his spirit be alive are those who, in his family, those people who he affected. And it's had like a seismic kind of effect on my life. There are things literally falling apart now because I can no longer ignore these things anymore. Things that I was just letting go. Things that, time is of the essence. And he would always tell me that. He would always tell me that, I always thought that I had so much time. And I really, trying to get me to understand that I don't really have as much time as I think I do. And now, because I can't just talk to him, I know what he would say. And I have every intention of honoring what he saw in me. And, recently I put out this this instrumental album I would love for you to check out, called Transmutation by me, Fly Sight. My name has gone through changes, got to be more defined, and I have the link, in the description. But I literally made that album out of grief because it was a couple, he ended up actually passing maybe a week or so, maybe a week or two after I released it. And the entire thing is about him. There's a story that I'm trying to tell through beats and instrumentals of having someone who brought life to you, losing that person, and then figuring out, how do I continue? How do I transmute what was about to happen? His death wasn't a surprise. We all knew that it was going to be probably within this year. We didn't know when. But I was trying to brace myself for that situation because I knew that was coming. I knew that I was going to have to face that situation sooner rather than later. And I didn't know how to deal with it. And I remember one day I was so distraught, so completely confused, and just, I was bewildered. I had no understanding of what to do with the amount of grief I felt. That the only thing I could do was document how I feel and try to direct where it was that I was gonna go. And that is what, if you listen to this project, that is what you're listening to. And I'm not the greatest beat maker in the world, I understand that. But understand that if you listen to it, it's a labor of love, and understand that it's a story that is meaningful, and that there is a reason for everything that's on there. So, I know this is supposed to be fast breaks. This wasn't exactly fast, but I just wanted to take a moment. I had to say that, I had to tell y'all where I'm at, and try to give you some clarity as to where I'll be going. I'm trying to use this situation to become the man that my brother wanted me to be. So, thanks for listening, and I hope you check it out. Let me know if you dig it, and be cool. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.